Recently, I boarded Freedom of the Seas for a quick 3-day cruise, and to my surprise, we were eligible for a new expedited check-in referred to as express boarding. This is something new that Royal Caribbean appears to be rolling out for select cruises. This is not an added expenditure like the Key, and is available if you meet certain criteria at no additional charge. In this video, I'll discuss what makes someone eligible for the express boarding and exactly what our experience was like. When we originally checked in, we did so using a driver's license and birth certificate as our method of identification. Submitting those documents did not provide us with the express boarding notification. One day prior to the cruise, someone in the Facebook group for the cruise mentioned express boarding as being available. Upon doing a little bit of research, we discovered that they had used passports for check-in and were given express boarding. We then promptly changed our documentation within the app to our passports, and upon completion, we received confetti and notification that we were receiving express boarding. Our check-in time for our cruise was listed as 11:30, but we usually show up early since getting on the ship as early as possible will make day one that much longer. Also, with express boarding, we wanted to see what that was all about. Upon arrival, we saw that the same entry point for the Key and Suite guest had signage that was for express boarding. We showed our express boarding pass, and they let us in that same entry, and we were able to bypass any line that was forming for everyone else. Once you get to the security checkpoint, the process for express boarding was to have your boarding passes scanned and have your picture taken for your SeaPass card. We did have a slight hiccup due to the fact that we previously listed our driver's license and birth certificate as our documents. With us changing to passports just one day prior to the cruise, the system was showing up as red and not allowing us access when our boarding passes were scanned. Royal Caribbean had a lot of technical experts on hand due to this being a new check-in option, and they spent a couple of minutes asking us questions to gather information as to why the system was having a glitch. They were very kind and thankful that we were helping them answer questions so they would work out any kinks in the software going forward. We were still able to utilize express boarding, it just took about 2 minutes to sort it out due to the error in the system. While we were speaking with tech support personnel, we did ask for clarification on what makes someone eligible for express boarding. They provided clarification that any U.S. passport holder or Canadian passport holder was eligible for express boarding. So if you are from the U.S. or Canada, it would definitely be beneficial to use that passport as your documentation when you check in for any future cruises. This was all happening so fast, so we didn't think to ask if they were going to be using this on all cruises or at all ports, but it was used for Freedom of the Seas, sailing out of Miami on November 3rd. Looking back at the timeline of all of this, we arrived at 10:10 in the morning, and by 10:20 we had made our way to the seating area prior to guests boarding the ship, and that was even with the minor glitch with our boarding passes being scanned. At 10:32, they announced that they would start boarding Key members first, followed by Suite guests. At 10:45, Key and Suite guests started boarding, and at 10:47, they started boarding the express boarding guests that were waiting. We literally boarded 2 minutes later than the Key and Suite guests and didn't have to pay the additional expense associated with buying the Key or paying extra to obtain a suite. I'm not sure if Royal Caribbean is going to be implementing this on all of their cruises in the near future, but if you find yourself lucky enough to be on a cruise that is testing out the express boarding, it is definitely a nice perk that makes the boarding process more convenient and efficient. Thanks for watching, and let me know if anyone has had any experience with express boarding. I would be interested in specifically which ship, port, and date. Thanks again. See you in the next video.